morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We're just rolling right through this week, and I'm on again 2 days in a row. I'm so excited. I have so much to stamp with you, and also just missing you guys. Like, I'm telling you, last week was hard, even though I wasn't on because it was crazy. I miss you guys so much. So today I'm actually going to be making this card, and I want to show you guys the super cool thing about this card because it's still a regular card size. As you can see, looks like a regular card size, but look at this. How cool is that? And then the other super cool thing is that this piece of cardstock here is the missing piece that's right here. So it still uses a regular half of a sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 11. So let me show you. One thing that I forgot to do is pull Alex up on the camera just to make sure he's still sleeping. Okay, we're good. Otherwise, I hear like phantom baby like noises and toddler noises. I have a feeling it's just a parenting thing and I'm never going to get over it. But yeah, I totally hear like phantom cries or things like that all the time. So if you're a parent and you hear those phantom noises, let me know so that I'm not alone. Does it ever end? Who knows? Good morning, Cindy. I'm so excited to have you on live. Okay, so here is my half a sheet of cardstock, and you can see that that half a sheet of cardstock makes my regular card base. But what I did is I went ahead and I did a score line at that halfway point to make my normal card base. Let me see if I can find, I think I have a sheet of cardstock. So like normally you have your half a sheet of cardstock here, and I don't normally score mine. I just go ahead and fold it and use the bone folder. But if you want, you can always score it with a score blade. So I went ahead and I scored at 4 1/4, and then let me see if I can bring this in and show you guys how I did it. It's always so hard to show a paper cutter and a score line. So here I have my score blade and my cutting blade. If you never know which one is which, just remember the score blade is a lighter gray for a lighter touch, just a score. The cutting blade is a darker color, and that's because it's a harder, darker press, and it cuts. I heard that from someone else, and it's really stuck with me. So, okay, so what I did was I took this piece of cardstock, I went in to 4 1/4, so my line here is 4 1/4, and I scored my cardstock. So I have that line where I would do the halfway. So then I took my cutting blade and I cut on that same line halfway down. So there's numbers on this clear bar as well as going across. So I went ahead and I cut down to 2 3/4. And then I rotated my cardstock at 2 3/4, and I cut all the way across from here all the way down to that score line, which is at 4 1/4. So I can see it's 4 1/4 right here on this line. And then this piece of cardstock is then free from our card base. So then get rid of that. We can then go ahead and fold this flap over like we would our regular card, and go ahead and get that nice flat line. And then we have a piece of Whisper White. This piece measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. This is going to go on the inside here. And then this piece layers on top of that piece that we cut off. So this piece is actually, let's see, it would be 4 by 2 1/2. Let me verify that. I can't reach my ruler. There it is. Yes, 4 by 2 1/2. So it's just a 1/4 inch in. And then, of course, we have our designer series paper on the front. So you can see how that is all going to come together. So I used some of this fabulous designer series paper. I actually used 2 different sheets because I ran out because I did so many of these cards. So you can see on the regular card here, I used this pattern, which has the blues on the background. You could always do the blues and change up your ink color a little bit. Or you can always use a different pattern. I went with this one. I thought this one looked a little bit more fall-ish, and it would be kind of fun to use this one as well. And then I used the Beauty of Friendship stamp set, and I used these 2 for my tree. I used the Friendship for this refreshes the soul on the front, and then you'll notice on the inside, I used You Truly Inspire Me, and these little dots here, I used along there. So let's go ahead and get started. Rather than just showing you all of that, then we'll actually get going on doing it. So I'm actually using Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen for those 2 shades that complement each other so well. So I actually have, I think, enough card pieces to do 3 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and get out all of my pieces. So all of the inside pieces measure 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to get out the You Truly Inspire Me and that little dot stamp. A lot of my clear blocks are still used for another project that I'm working on. So I'm just going to have to start stealing from them. So I did the You Truly Inspire Me in the darker color, Evening Evergreen. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp that one down. Whoa! Look what happened. And I should have known because I could still see the ink there. So let's see if I can line this back up. Nailed it. Oh, wow. That was really scary. I'm not going to lie. I was so scared. These are your 2 new favorite colors. I think they're going to be fabulous for Christmas time. So one of the things that I will say, if that's something that happens to you a lot, I will say the reason why that probably happened here is I have too big of a block. And I also have a little bit of ink on the top corner because my block is too big. So I was a little too nervous to rock a little bit. Like, I don't want to use the word rock because I'm normally saying don't rock, but I didn't set it down all the way because I was nervous to end up with a little bit of ink up there. So yeah, I actually have been using these colors a lot. I hate to say this because I feel like it's totally not me to say it. I haven't used polished pink that much. I have been using these colors more, and that's just totally not Laura. What is going on? So it's kind of crazy. So then with these little dots, I'm actually just going to start in the corner, full strength, and just keep stamping around. And of course I went all the way up and you can hardly see that. So, but it just kind of gradually goes along as a messy, dirty background, if you will. That kind of sounds weird, but So the darkest one is, you know, in the corner there. And then it just kind of gives that little background. To each of those. Okay, so now we can add all of these to the insides of our card bases. How is everybody's Tuesday going? I think I might be back on track with the week. I'll keep you posted. Sunday, I totally felt like the next day was Tuesday. And I was like, tomorrow's Tuesday, Claire's going to school. And I think it's because last week with that holiday, it really just messed me up thinking after the weekend comes Tuesday, right? Not so much. So yeah, that super messed me up. But then yesterday, you know, Claire was home and I guess it felt like a Monday. I don't really know that it felt like any other day. So then today she went to school. So today kind of, you know, feels like a Tuesday. I feel like we're doing good. But I do have Stamp Club tomorrow. And I've really gone back and forth. Like I usually have stamp classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then Club has always been on Wednesday. But Club always messes me up thinking that it's a Tuesday or a Thursday because my classes are typically on a Tuesday or Thursday. So I'm a little nervous that my week is going to go into La La Land again tomorrow. So we shall see. You're loving this, Cindy? I'm glad you are. So this one I'm going to do on the front. And then I'm going to use the other patterns for the other cards. Just to mix it up, change it up a little, have a little variation in card styles. And colors. And I think I might be out of the other color. Oh, I do still have one more. So I'm still going to do this one though, I think. So you can see that this one actually covers up that bottom inside greeting. And then now we're going to do those inside panels, the front panels. And on here, we're going to use that tree. And it is a two-step stamping tree. I will say it is kind of tricky because the two images, like when you stamp the first one, you're like, wait, I see a variation in color and I don't know why I need to stamp the other one. Which you could stop there. If you were making multiples of these, for Christmas or something, and you were like, I cannot stamp 452 times, then you don't have to. You could always just stamp the one, and you would still get a really beautiful tree. Oh, thank you, Cindy. That is so sweet. Now, I can tell you, I've definitely made some not so pretty cards before, but I'm glad that you like my style and like the cards. I hope they inspire you as much as they inspire me too. Okay, so this, let's see if you can see these. This one is like more the flat one, or solid one, and that's the one I'm gonna do in the lighter color. And then this one is more of the detailed one, and that's the one I'm gonna do in the darker color. So you can really do this either way. I'm gonna show you both ways. I really find it to be personal preference. So you can stamp the larger background image first in the lighter color. Let's make sure you guys can like really see this. In hopes that you can understand why I do it either way. So I'm going to go towards the top. This is the lighter shade first. Make sure to press all over. And you can see it's already looks like a two-step stamped image. It's got that variation in color and everything. Now I'm going to take the darker one and I'm going to go over the top because this one is a smaller image. So I'm going to line this up. Really, you just need to line up the tip of that tree so you don't have like two tree tips. But otherwise, there's really not any sort of lining up to actually be done. But you can see it's really hard to be able to see through this stamp. As you can see, my head kind of popped in the way as I wanted to try to get up and on top of it. Now you have even more variation in color. So now I want to show you doing the dark one first. This is the smaller one. So now you can see the dark one really doesn't have a lot of variation or anything. That one I probably wouldn't stamp alone. The other one I would totally stamp alone and just leave off that second stamp. This one, not so much. So now this one I'm going to put through there. Can you see the tree through this lighter color? Which this is why a lot of times I find I like to stamp the lighter color second, because I can see through light ink easier than I can see through darker ink. So a lot of times, you know, like I said, when people ask me which one I stamp first, this one I stamped the smaller image first, or I'm sorry, the smaller image second, because it's inside the other one, so you can kind of see the border and, you know, you kind of have like some wiggle room there. But I actually have found that I typically find stamping the lighter color second is easier because you can see through that ink color a lot easier. Also, sometimes whenever you have a big image like this and you're not sure whether it's stamped solid, this works sometimes, it sometimes doesn't, but a lot of times it sticks to the cardstock. See? So then you can always lightly press there in the center, making sure that the cardstock hit the actual stamp. And then your color won't have that like hole in the middle or something. Another thing that you can do is you can use a foam mat to be able to stamp on. I have found that the Stamparatus has that foam mat, and that works really well to be able to stamp your photopolymer stamps on and get that nice smooth image. Because photopolymer stamps don't have the foam like the red rubber stamps do, and that foam helps, you know, with the give, and there is no give for these, so stamping on a foam mat like that helps with the give. Okay, and so now we have a third one, and I'm going to go ahead and do it like I did that second time. So I'm going to ink up the darker tree, stamp it down, and then ink up the lighter tree and stamp it over the top. You could also use your Stamparatus for all of this, and then, you know, just close, 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 close. Especially if you're making multiples. Okay, now we need that beautiful greeting. Friendship refreshes the soul. And we will stamp that down. So let me know in the comments, do you prefer to stamp the darker color first or second, or the bigger image first or second, or how do you prefer to determine that? Or do you like to use the Stamparatus and then you don't have to worry about which one you're stamping first or second? Because the Stamparatus takes care of all of that for you. I will also say, I feel like my Evening Evergreen ink pad is needing a little ink refill. So I'm going to refill that with all of you guys in case you have never inked up an ink pad before. Evening Evergreen. I find that it's really hard to know when to re-ink a dark ink pad because it's so dark. Like it doesn't look like it needs re-inked. Whereas like some of the lighter ones, they get like really light in spots. But I will say like, and I don't know how well you can tell on camera, see how like Refresh looks a little bit lighter? I just feel like, you know, there's like not as much ink in that spot. So we're just gonna re-ink it. So I'm just gonna take the ink refill and I sort of just go back and forth. And then around the edge. Maybe a few more dabs in the center and just rub off the tip of the ink refill. And now you're all set. You stamp the darker one first. Yeah, and like, I'll be honest, there are times that like if I'm stamping, then I'll just stamp and then go, oh, I did the wrong one first. So yeah, like when people ask me like which one I stamp first, it varies. Okay, so now we're all done with our stamping. And we can add these to that piece of cardstock that we cut off of our card front. And then now when we add it to our card base, we just need to remember to not adhere it all the way to the top because otherwise we're going to seal our card shut. So I like to use tear and tape when I know that like there's a piece that's going to be hanging off or potentially pulled on or anything like that. The other reason is I find it to be easier to control my adhesive. I know that sounds like a weird word, but okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right at the very edge and I'm going to add some adhesive there. And then I'm going to go at the very bottom edge of this and add adhesive there. And now I don't have to worry about making sure that I put adhesive too high or too low on that piece of cardstock and having it, you know, hang out and seal our card shut. So now I just center that, and there you have that beautiful card. So again, I added a strip of tear and tape here at the bottom. And then I add a piece of tear and tape at the top of our front flap. And I sort of place this here to know how wide I need to go. So that's just a guide just to show don't go any wider than that piece there. And I don't go exactly edge to edge because I'm just placing this as like a small little guide. And I'm not actually like looking side to side. Whereas when I go to place it down, I'm kind of looking side to side to make sure it's centered. So I want to have that little bit of wiggle room where the adhesive doesn't go all the way to the edge, just in case I end up moving it a hair over, then the adhesive would show. Do you guys love tear and tape as much as me? I mean, I don't use it like all the time, although I feel like I've been using it a lot more lately. But I love it. I just find it to be so secure, so easy to use, and it's fabulous. And the fact that you can just tear it with your fingers, sold. Okay, so, oh wait, there's more. I forgot my little jewels. Where are my jewels? Well, I thought I had them right here. We can't miss out on the jewels. I have a feeling they're like right in front of my face and I'm just not seeing them. There they are. So these are the in color rhinestones. And you can actually use both the soft succulent or the evening evergreen, whichever one you prefer. And my take your pick tool is at the other table. So I'm just going to use my finger and mix and match these a little bit. So some of them have the dark, some of them have the light, some of them have one color of designer paper, and some of them have the other. So it really just depends. Let me know which one you guys like better. Do you like this one that's all like the greens with a little hint of blue? Or do you like the orange? Do you think it just adds a little extra pop to the card? So let me know which one your favorite one is. This is the Beauty of Friendship Sweet Designer Series paper and the stamp set, but doesn't use the dies. So it's great to be able to do a quick and simple card without the dies, or perhaps you don't have a die cutting machine, so you are just buying the stamps and the paper. Then this would be a perfect sample for you to be able to recreate. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's stamping therapy with me. I probably won't be on tomorrow. Like I said, it's Stamp Club. But I hope to be back on Thursday when Claire goes to school to be able to stamp with you guys, because I am just loving these little stamping breaks. As I said, this is Laura's stamping therapy, and it's just as much my therapy as I hope it is for you guys. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Don't forget that celebration is still going on through the end of the month, and you can enjoy those extra goodies with everything that you're ordering. So have a great day, and I'll see you hopefully on Thursday. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.